Hey, everybody. It is Tamika Talks. I know you're probably like, where's this girl been? We haven't seen her. Well, in a nutshell, the world opened up, schedule got really crazy, and we had some conflicts. But I'm back and I'm ready to talk. Today, we're going to keep this cool, chill. But I want it to be an open dialogue. I want you to share how you really feel, but I want you to be respectful of others and be mindful of the words that you say, because, once you put the words out, we can't take them back. But welcome to Tea Talk Thursday. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Tamika. I'm the mouth of IG at Tamika Talks, and I'm the thought leader at Life and Prompts, where I created Tea Talk to be an open dialogue about current issues, things that affect our community, and basically a conversation amongst friends. So today I thought it was important that we host a sound off. And basically what that means is I want you to tell me how you're feeling. We are going to sound off. We're going to explore our feelings and be open to it and not put each other down because of how we're feeling, but we're going to talk it out. And then at the end, we're going to come up with an action plan for kind of what we need to do to move forward. You guys ready? Come on in, get your drink. Let me grab mine. I got my drink here, my perfect, lovely glass. It's not a glass. What is it called? An insulated mug from Zach. Keeps all my drinks cool or warm in the case of my tea today. But yes, so this week, President hopeful Joe Biden basically made the announcement that a lot of us have been waiting for. We knew it was coming. Initially, there were 6 candidates he was considering. It dwindled down. We were seeing the people slowly but surely falling off. I believe the last 2 were Kamala Harris and Susan Rice. And then just this week, he made the announcement that his candidate is Kamala Harris. And it has evoked a lots of emotions. Let's call it that. It's evoked lots of emotions. I've seen where people are happy. I've seen some where people are angry. And last week I asked the question, were we concerned that, all the reports were stating that, Joe Biden had to pick a woman of color. And there were some people angry about that because they're like, well, why does it have to be a woman of color? Some people felt like by just stating that, it meant that he would pick any woman of color, whether she was qualified or not. So let's first dive into that. So for me, I thought it was a great idea that he picked a woman of color. We all know that women of color, we really were out voting in amazing numbers. Say what you want to say about the last election. We are the ones who helped Hillary Clinton win basically most of the states that she absolutely won. They did a breakdown of side by side of who voted and who didn't vote and kind of where those numbers went. And Black women, basically, we took the lead. I mean, say what you want to say, but we showed up to the polls and did what we said we were going to do. We made an impact. So it was a great idea for him to recognize the greatness in us because, oftentimes we are overlooked until we're needed. We're considered angry and all these other negative adjectives to describe us. But I feel it was a great idea that Joe Biden, regardless of how he came to that decision, and we should probably talk about that as well, regardless of how he came to that decision, he recognized that that was going to be important for his campaign. And when you look at the overall, the people that he has in his campaign right now, he recognizes the importance of having women surrounding him. We are going to be the ones who are going to get a lot of the work done. Yes, he's probably going to have some men in his cabinet office, of course, and, on the campaign. But I feel like a lot of the people we're going to see leading the charge are going to be women. And if you just look at basically the people that he's already hired to be a part of his campaign, they are women. Some of them are LGBTQ, part of that community. Some of them are Black, some of them are Hispanic, Latino. He's an Asian woman, I believe. So he is making certain that he hits all the check boxes. And I'm here for it. I think it's a great idea. It's what we want. And, oftentimes we can't get a seat at the table if we don't make that seat or we don't take the seat that's given to us and pull others along with us. So that's the first thing I want you guys to keep in mind. And everyone keeps saying, well, this was not Joe Biden's idea. first. Sanders put it out there, and then he kind of made it so that Joe Biden had to say that he was going to take a woman. He didn't have to say anything. He could have nodded when Sanders put it out there, but he took the charge, and now we see that he's basically run with it. And so I think that we need to acknowledge that, and that it's a good thing. And by him saying he was going to pick a woman of color, he did not necessarily say he was picking a Black woman. And I think that's the one thing that because a woman of color is not just Black. And oftentimes I know that people confuse it with that, but that's not the case. Regardless, he said he was picking a woman of color, and that's what he did. And where so many people were feeling like he was saying he wasn't picking a qualified woman. And I guess in my mind, I'm kind of like, well, why would you think that? I mean, we're not talking about a grocery store clerk or a dog walker or, a florist. We're not talking about that. We're not talking about a position that does not require you to have some knowledge. And where I had to take a step back is that I see where people were confused. Yes, or Sarah Palin. Oh my God, she gave me nightmares. We will talk about her. She gave me nightmares. But where I realized is that, and why I had to take a step back from being like, well, why are you angry that that's what he said? And people were like, well, he didn't say a qualified woman or a woman with this kind of degree or a woman from this background. And in my mind, I'm like, well, isn't that what we assume? Like, you guys know that Joe Biden wasn't going to knock on my door and say, hey, you want to be the VP, even though I would have accepted, I'm available if he needs me. But what I realized, and after I was saying it and having this discussion with people, I kind of had to walk back some of that conversation, because look at your current president. I don't think he has any government knowledge. He doesn't. And, I tell everyone all the time, my goal is never to be a politician. Like, that is not who I am. But after when Obama was running, I became engrossed in politics. Like, it was just crazy. Like, I wanted to know everything. I was craving it. You guys, if you've been following me for a while, you know that when the impeachment hearings were going on, I was like up, like I couldn't sleep. Like I couldn't even like get myself together, because every day I needed to know what happened. I started giving recaps on it, and then I was going a little crazy. It was a little insane and craziness. So I kind of had to walk back from that. But I realized that that's part of the reason why you all were upset. It wasn't that he said he wanted a woman of color. It was that you felt like you wanted a qualifier. And looking at what we're dealing with right now in the government, I understand. So yes, his goal was to pick a woman of color, but an intelligent woman of color, a woman of color that is qualified, a woman of color that in the event something happens to him, she can lead, a woman of color that we expect, if he does not run a second term, that she will then run for president. So I realized that you guys needed some of those qualifiers. So now you have them. So here we are. We already know he selected who he selected. And I should let you guys know, full disclosure, she was not my pick. She wasn't. She was not my top choice. As the numbers got down, initially I was all for Stacey Abrams, and then I took a deeper dive, and I had to realize, it's bigger than just who she is. It's more her network and kind of how she can move things along. And from watching a lot of interviews and seeing what she's been doing on The View and some of the other things that she's been on, I realized that a lot of people considered her an angry Black woman. And that was not going to fly. And where we are right now is we are not in a situation where we can take a gander and say, oh, well, maybe, let's put her forward because we like her. Do I think she would have done an excellent job? Absolutely. Do I think she would have done the damn thing? Yes. Do I think she would have checked Trump and Pence? Yes. However, it's the way the checking would have come. What I am hoping is that she will get a cabinet position of some sort, and she will still be involved in hopes that she will run at some point. When she feels like she's ready, that she will step in and handle it. So that's what I'm hoping. So then, as the numbers started, dwelling down, like Val Demings is my girl. I love her. I think she's very poised. I love the way comment response. I just looked at the dynamic between her and Joe Biden, and I'm not sure they would have worked. Does that mean I think she was not qualified? Absolutely not. And I'm hoping to see her in another position as well if she decides to give up her seat. So, as I looked down, when people were dropping out and all of that kind of stuff, I realized, okay, here's who we're left with. Susan Rice is my girl. You guys know she worked with Obama and she did the damn thing. But think about who we're talking about. If you have been just paying attention to any of the politics that have happened in the last 4 years, you know that the current president blames everything on Obama. I feel like if he's at home and there's a toilet, he doesn't have any toilet paper because, we were having that shortage amidst this pandemic. He blames it on Obama. He's like, Obama is the reason there's no toilet paper because he told everybody to buy it and now there's none. Obama's the reason there's no wipes. Obama's the reason that Clorox can't keep up and make wipes. So I feel like everything that has happened, it's been his fault. He's gone. He's living his life. Leave the man alone. And so I had to realize that because of the Benghazi incident that Rice was involved in, they would have not only used that against her, because I know they would have, but they would have highlighted it in using it against Biden because, him and Obama hand in hand. So while I am really disappointed because I think she would have made an amazing vice president. Like, she is who I wanted. Like, you couldn't tell me that's not who he was not going to pick. And then I did a deep dive and, you have to think about it and realize that Harris might at this point, out of the two, be the better candidate. Now, what so many people are upset about is her prosecutory record. But let's look at that. Let's look at that. Because that also is one of the reasons why when she was running for president, I did not want her as president. I also did not like the way she responded oftentimes, and I felt like it was out of haste. Now, that is one thing that I'm hoping they're going to work on together because I feel like Uncle Joe responds sometimes out of haste and doesn't, I don't want to say doesn't think, but sometimes he just opens his mouth and he doesn't realize that not everybody gets your humor. Not everyone knows where you are or where you're coming from with something. So some things you just should not say. So I feel like Harris, she's the kind, she's the comeback girl is really how I feel about her. And I feel like, oftentimes the comeback, while it's great, it's not needed. So I'm just hoping that together they have whoever was getting Obama and Biden together, that they're all sitting down and they're figuring out what their plan of attack is going to be, how they're going to address these issues, because we already know that Trump is coming. And so if you've been paying attention to the commercials, Trump is constantly talking about Biden's role to defund the police. I totally hate that word, guys. Police reform. That's what I want us to call it. Police reform. We can't defund the police the way it sounds. It sounds like we're saying take away the money from them. We'd have no police. And that's what the commercial says. I was watching it with my daughter and she's like, Mom, this makes no sense. And I said, you are absolutely correct because we can't take all the money from the police. Basically, what that means is we want to make certain that money is going into our legal system where it needs to go and doing what it needs to do. So I don't know if we could have come up with a better word. I guess I just want to say reform. I don't know because it's out there so much, but we need a better word than defund because it has people confused. Because when you think of defunding something, you think, okay, I'm taking all the money away, but that doesn't make sense. But all the commercials, because they realize that people were confused, all the commercials talk about that. Who are you going to call if you need help? Oh, we can't help you. Oh, it's a recording. So now people are afraid, okay? So in those commercials, everyone is afraid. People have been talking about it. And that was the goal, to incite fear, right? So I feel like as a millennial, you get it. You understand because you guys are the ones who are really driving a lot of what's happening in these campaigns. So you guys get it. You understand defund the police and you were on it. You were telling people, you were on Instagram telling people, you've been in Snapchat telling people, Snapchat, showing my age, right? Snapchat telling people, and then you took it to like TikTok to let people know. However, the people that saw that did not get it aren't in those spaces. You know where they are? They're on TV. But you're not making a TV commercial. You're not buying ad time. But look who did buy ad time. And he literally preyed on those fears. And it worked. So now let's look at the flip side. What people don't like about Harris is her prosecutory record amongst Black men. Some of those women, we're going to call it like it is, guys, who watch those commercials that Trump has put out about defunding the police are afraid. Because you saw how, even though it was black and white, a lot of those figures were Black men. Okay, so they incited fear in Black men. Now you bring in Harris, who has no problem prosecuting Black men. So my hope is that it will create a synergy and get people thinking, oh, well, she had no issue standing up to Black men, whether or not what she did was right. And well, no, that does make a difference. I don't want to say that. Whether or not the crime went with the sentence is another issue. But in this case, we just want people to see that she is not going to be biased and she's going to do what she feels, is right in that instance. I totally hope that made sense. So my hope is that it created a balance, because I know me watching those commercials, I was like, this is crazy. Like, if I had no idea and I had not been connected to social media and really talking to people to get an idea of what was going on, you guys know how I am with the protests and all of that, and really just talking to other people about what's going on, being impulsive, I totally could have been like, oh my God, I'm scared. We're saying we're not going to have a police. So we got to look at that. So let's look at, so think about that when you were throwing out the fact that, Kamala Harris, her Senator Harris's report, her record is not great. The other thing we want to look at right now is, and what I'm telling people is that it's okay for you to say that you're unhappy with her being the pick. It is. And I think that we need to acknowledge it and allow people to sound off. Hence the reason I did this today. Sound off on how they're feeling. Let them say why they don't want to vote for her, or why they don't know. Let me not say they don't want to vote for her. Well, no, yeah, it's okay. You can say that you don't want to vote for her, but you will vote for her. Because I think that when we look through the history of just voting, I can't remember a candidate that I was like, yes, I am completely in love with. Now, I did love Obama, but he had some things that I was kind of like, dude, what is this? It was a little shaky, but I still voted for him. And I think that the reality is, in this system, we have to realize that we are never, ever going to have a candidate that we're fully in love with, except for my daughter, who will be running when she is of age. So don't forget, vote for Eliza Bryant when it's time. Everyone will love her. Remember that, okay? She will be the candidate that you love. I'm raising her, I promise. But let's just think about it. We've never had a candidate that we could check all the boxes. Yes, I love this person. Yes, 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 yes. Because we're all different and we all want different things. I feel like what we have to look at is globally what's going to be better for our country. And what I've been saying to people is, right now, it is bad. Like, when we have other countries that don't want to let us in, like, for the last 4 years, it's been talking about build a wall, close off the borders. Clearly, the wall that's built and closed off is for us. We're the ones who can't get in. And I kept telling everyone that Mexico was on its way. I've received so many travel advisories, basically kind of being like, you can come if you want, but we don't really know what's going to happen. I don't want them kind of trips, no. And so I just think that, those are things that we have to think about. Am I telling you to vote for Biden-Harris? I am. I'm sorry. I am. I'm not sorry, but I am. And what I encourage everybody to do is look at where we are now and where we could possibly be. So we already know what we got with Trump. We're in the midst of this pandemic. 1 minute, it's okay, we don't need to wear a mask. The next minute, we need to wear a mask. Then it becomes, don't give the data to the CDC. The data needs to come to the White House, which I still haven't figured out why that's happening. And if any of you out there know, really know the reason why we would bypass the CDC and give information to the White House, let me know, because I really want to know. And then we just have so many things that we have to look at in terms of making a great decision. And I was reading something today and someone said, if it is so clear that who we need to vote for, even Stevie Wonder could tell you, because, so much has happened that did not need to happen, that was not handled properly. Let's talk about the tweets and all of that constantly go out. And I just learned yesterday that apparently he dictates the tweets to someone else to send. For the longest time since he's been in office, I thought that he did it on his own, because in my mind, I'm thinking, there's no way you dictated some of this nonsense to someone and they didn't clean it up, make it sound right before they hit send. And I get it, he's the president and you shouldn't have to proofread his work, but you do. So I'm still flabbergasted behind that. And I'm just like, if that is the only thing you have to go by, then do it. Because let's be clear, people didn't vote for Hillary because of these emails. I can name lots of things right now if you just need something to get you to not vote for him. You know, we have to look at the country's divide that continues to grow because of the things that he says. And oftentimes I tell people, you know, it is not a Republican Democratic thing, it's a human thing. And some of these things that he says, I'm like, you can't like people. Like, you can only like the certain amount of people that are in your pod surrounded by you. Someone today mentioned to me part of the reason why they were voting for Trump, because I've been a little bit more open to these conversations, was before I was like, yeah, no, I don't want to talk to you about it, was that their 401k did very well because of some of the cuts and things that he was doing. And I said, that's great. You know, I think that's great. We definitely need money to fuel our economy, but is that all you have? Is that it? Because while you got more money in your 401k, okay, yes, to be ready for, you know, when you retire or however you tend to use it, but just look at what's happening in the world. Because while you have more money right now, that money's going to have less of an impact if there's nothing here. Like, the economy is just degrading because people can't keep up, they can't maintain. And then look at our schools right now. You know, education really should be something that we value as a country. And unfortunately, we don't. Hence the reason that we are having debates and conversations surrounding opening schools. Hence the reason here in Pennsylvania, people are calling our governor a wimp. And part of it is because, yes, he has the hard decision in deciding if he should just shut schools down. And while, you know, as to some parents and some families, it's a no-brainer. Like, I'm not sending my kid to school. It makes sense. Leave them home. I can do that. There are some families that cannot. So while, you know, depending on what your privilege is, you can state certain things. But some people don't have that privilege. And it's not a black and white thing to me at this point. It is really trying to weigh the equity that is so missing in Pennsylvania education that he has a hard decision to make. And my hope is that as a result of realizing where he is, because you can see the anguish in his face as he's speaking out, that then he will realize that he has more work to do in terms of this equity. But I digress. That's just another piece for us to look at. But right, so education, like I said, we don't value it. And so because we don't value it, no one else is valuing it. You know, look at our school lunches and what our kids eat as opposed to kids in the country. You know, all those things come into play, and it's all about politics, and it's all about the reason why we need to vote in November. So what I'm hoping is that while you don't like Kamala Harris, which is fine, like I said, she was not my top choice, you realize that this is where we are. Whatever you need to say about her, say it and get it out. And in my post, I made it very clear. Oh, he made his announcement. She was not my top choice, but I'll still be voting. I'm voting for him. It doesn't matter. And I said, you know, this is the one time, could have been some other times maybe, but I can definitively say that this is the one time that we've had an election where I was kind of like, it doesn't matter who his running mate is. I have to vote for him. Like, I kept telling people, it could be Elmo, it could be Animal. You know, we made a lot of jokes about it. And then I said to someone, you know, in all seriousness, like, he has been given a golden ticket because so many of us are angry and upset with what's happening right now. And we realize the only way to get change, it starts with you and I voting in November for the Biden-Harris ticket. And I saw today before I started this, that is part of their campaign, change. Totally makes sense because that is what we need in order to really make an impact. All right, so let's see what our comments are saying here. So Mia mentioned Sarah Palin, and I was talking about in terms of him just not selecting any old woman. And yes, she was going to come to mind because I remember when they were running, I honestly thought that as a country, we were not going to show up and do the right thing, much like we did with Hillary, and that she was going to win. I was having nightmares. Like, I would wake up in the middle of the night. Like, it was horrible, absolutely horrible, because the things that were coming out her mouth, I used to be like, what? Did you say that? And I feel like because the country was so for her, that just created the chain of events for why we are here where we are right now with someone who is not qualified to be the president. I don't care what you say, he is not qualified. Just because he meets those standard, 45, a U.S. resident and all that, he educationally, mentally is not qualified. Like he does not know enough to effectively be the president. And that's what we're seeing. So Mia's also saying, Tamika for BP 2024. She's for this. Yeah, listen, I'm available. I'm available. I feel like I know how to give people a good read and smile without you realizing I'm giving you a read until later on. Of course, the media will probably break it down, but you know, hey. So Lisa is talking about, she is so upset about this post office thing. Yeah, I don't even know where to begin with that. I don't. I mean, and it's not, and I don't even know which thing you're talking about. How about that? Because there are a few things that have gone on in terms of the post office. You know, now we have a lot of people afraid to do a mail-in ballot in November because of the article talking about the Postmaster General telling them to hold up mail. Some of the ballots didn't get counted. I mean, we have a lot of things to peel back. The problem becomes then, you know, we know that if we don't do the mail-in, that means that people need to physically show up to the polls. If they're saying that, you know, this pandemic is going to hit us come November, like they're saying it's going to happen, that's gonna play into whether or not people show up at the polls. So I feel like if you know that you are not comfortable mailing it in, or whatever the case may be, and you don't want to commit to that, you have got to show up to the polls. I don't care if you're on your deathbed. Excuse me. You need to get there, pull that lever, press that button, however your polling works, and be counted. This is not a time for us to be second guessing. We have got to show up and be counted. The other thing I saw is that he was trying to delay the election because now he's running scared, and rightfully so. I mean, rightfully so. Like I said, we have a checklist of why people should not vote for him. You know, there are Republicans who are right now, you know, in a state of confusion because they don't want to cross party lines, but their conscience won't let them vote for him, which I think is amazing. And I think that we all need to be there in the same sense as well, that we got to stop this. We will never get rid of the divide we have in our country as long as he is our president. I'm sorry, we just won't. All right, let's see. So Cy Bryant has calculated the year that my daughter, Eliza Bryant, will be running for president. So President-elect Eliza Bryant, 2045. My God, that sounds a really long time from now. But this will be a recording, and I will start off our campaign. Eliza Bryant for president, 2045. As I stated, she'll be your perfect candidate, and make sure you vote for her. But talk to me, guys. I want to hear, like, how are you feeling? What is your thoughts? You know, what are you thinking? And so let's do some facts about Kamala, you know, that we should talk about. So she has been a lifelong public servant and civil rights leader. She was not only the second Black woman in history to be elected to the U.S. Senate, but the first woman to serve as Attorney General of California. Now we have to talk about that. Like, those are amazing statistics, and it's just crazy because she's not that old, and for her to be the first of these things is shows us why it made sense for him to say a woman of color, because it's time for people to start respecting women of color. I'm sorry, it really is. And then it talks about how, as U.S. Senator, she fought to raise minimum wage to $15 an hour, making higher education tuition free for the vast majority of Americans. She did a reform on the cash bail system, which I was unaware of. I knew that she had put forth a bill about it, and it was a lot of debate about it because of, you know, her track record. But this is talking about basically that this is what she did. She wants to protect the rights of refugees and immigrants. I didn't know that. And expand access to affordable quality health care. There we go with that health care, you know, as far as, you know, being a Democrat and not. So let's take the party lines off the table. We have to understand and recognize the importance of quality health care. The more people that are sick, the worse off our country is. And what happens is people who are sick, like right now, I promise you, there are people who have symptoms of COVID-19, but will not go to the doctor because they cannot afford it. How crazy is that? That everywhere you look, on the news, on the radio, on the internet, in the supermarkets, everywhere, people are talking about the symptoms of COVID-19, of being affected with coronavirus. And there are people who are like, well, I was coughing, I had a headache, I can't really taste anything, but they won't go to the doctor because they can't afford it. Those bills are astronomical. And until we get and recognize the importance of it, it's just going to keep spreading. And so what I've been saying to people is, for nothing else, we want quality healthcare so people will go to the doctor, and maybe we can figure out how we can get rid of some of these things and we can slow down the spread of coronavirus. But that's just me. So she's been a leading voice in the fight to hold the Trump administration accountable. I am very much aware of that. Let me see. And basically, I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but she introduced a bill to ban lynching in all its forms. And so this is something that Congress has refused to do for over 100 years. So the fact that we needed a bill to ban lynching, come on, guys, you know that is absolutely ridiculous. So those are some of the things that she's done. She served as the California's AG from 2011 to 2016. And so what I'm unclear on is that oftentimes where you see that people are classifying her as a Black woman, and then you'll see that she is South Asian American, and then somebody was talking today and they're like, oh, she's Jamaican and Indian. So we need to be clear on what it is that she is. And I realize that as a woman of color, as a Black woman, we are often a mixture of a lot of different things, but I need her to come out and state, I'm a proud whatever she wants to be classified as, because throwing all this in the mix is just more ammunition for them to be like, is she a U.S. resident, or is her family U.S. residents? We already know how that went and how that happened for like so many years that it's beyond insane. Let me see. And what's another interesting fact right now is this is the first Democratic ticket since 1984 that does not have someone on it that has an Ivy League degree. In fact, this is the first ticket where we have someone from an HBCU. So we have lots of things to be proud of and excited about where Kamala is concerned. And I just want us to get it out. Like, if you're angry, if you don't like her, I was listening to something today where somebody was calling her Scamala, and he was saying that, don't vote for her because all she's doing is scamming. She's been backwalking some of the things that she has said previously. And I saw someone saying, oh, she called Joe Biden a racist and now she's hanging out with them. And then we had to clear it up. Like, that's not really what happened. And so what I want everybody to do this week before Friday, because when Saturday and when Monday hits, we're done with all of that. I want you to post all the fake stuff, everything. If you don't like her, if you don't like her because her hair, you don't like her because she wears a black suit, you don't like her because she don't wear stilettos or she wears flats, I want us to get all that out. Let's just talk about it all. Post it on your pages. Encourage people to say what they need to say. This week, we need to sound off. We need to just let it all loose. I don't like her. Maybe I don't like her because she's Black. I don't like her because she got long hair. I don't like her because she married to a white man. We got all these things that people are saying because they don't like about her. Let's get it out there. Stop telling people how they should feel and what they should do. Let them say what they need to say. And if you feel like you want, if you feel like what they say is not true, because you all know everybody does not fact check. But if what they say is not true, it's not true, then you definitely should fact check them. But if it's something that they feel in their opinion, let them say it. Let them say it. Let them get it out. And if you want to go back to that post on Saturday and say, now what? Because that's where I'm at right now. I'm like, okay, I said what I said, and everyone coming on my post kind of trying to convince me that she was a good person or that she was this and that she was the best candidate. And I kept literally almost every comment I responded and I said, I don't care about any of that. This is how I feel. She was not the one I wanted, but I'm still voting for her. So you adding all this extra, you're wasting your breath on me. Don't waste your breath on me. Take that breath and give it to someone who needs it. I didn't. So I want us to continue to encourage the people that we know around us to say what they need to say. we're not always going to like each other. People are like, oh, she's going to turn up being the angry Black woman. And so I hate saying that, but sometimes we do need to be angry. And I think that right now is the time for us to be angry, because enough is enough. And until we all come together and do what we need to do, we're going to still be having these same conversations. And I don't know about you, but I can't have another 4 years of what we've experienced. I can't do it. Like, enough is enough. We know better. When we know better, we do better. And so that's how I feel. I feel like, for whatever reason, some of you guys did not vote for Hillary for whatever reason. She was a woman, you didn't like her pantsuit, whatever it is. Let it go, because we saw where that got us. And I'm certain that what happened in the case with Trump is there were people who were like, well, it don't matter if I don't go vote, because no one's gonna vote for him. Like, who would vote for him? Like, we know what he does. He has these shows. And so because we passed the buck to the next person, this is why we have this. So now I want you all to hold yourselves accountable. And so that's when we're going to talk about what our next steps should be. So I've said what I needed to say about Kamala Harris and her track record, the things that she's done, what I'm hoping to see. I'm done. I don't need to say anything else about it. I don't need you to send me any links about anything that she's done, anything that she said. I don't need any of it. Right now, what I need is action. So here's the action plan that we're going to put into place. And it's something that we're going to talk about on a regular. And so I hope you guys are ready. Volunteer. That's the first thing I want to say. Volunteer. Be a part of the campaign. Because we are needed. Make phone calls, knock on doors, send flyers out, share good information. Share information that makes an impact. Don't share that negative crap that you're seeing out in the street, because you don't really know whether or not it's been fact checked or whatever. I need you to share information, okay? That's the first thing I want us to all be clear on, that we're going to volunteer. Then I want you to look around, assess your friends, talk to them. If you're out in the store, ask people, are they registered to vote? Ask them, are they registered to vote? That's a part of your volunteering as well. But I want you to be intentional with that. Wherever you are, if someone starts up a conversation with you, hey, how are you? Yes, are you registered to vote? No, well, let me tell you how you can do it. And I want you to become knowledgeable in how we can do this, because this is our system. And until we take an active role and impact in it, it won't change. It won't. We'll be passing the buck on to the next person, because it'll be, oh, it's cold outside, I'm not going to go vote. Oh my God, the mailman left already, so there's no need in me doing this mail-in ballot. When you get the mail-in ballot, it's no secret for who you're going to vote for, right? Biden-Harris, right? We're clear on that, right? Democratic ticket, right? Okay. Fill it out, mail it back in. Me, I was so late in mailing mine, I'm not even going to lie. And let me tell you the reason why I was late. I forgot, first of all. I forgot I had a mail-in ballot. And the second thing is, I literally wanted to walk and put my ballot into that box and take a picture. So in the event that they try to say that I did not vote, I could say, yes, I did. And I still have proof of that for that reason. I know it's crazy, but it is what it is. I love the system here in Pennsylvania. They actually sent me an email letting me know that it was in my mailbox, and letting me know once they received it and it was counted. If your system's not like that and you're not okay, go to the polls. Absolutely go to the polls. Yes. So let's get back to wherever you are. When you see people, young people especially, yes. So Alonda is saying, especially 18-year-olds, absolutely. And that's exactly what I was going to say. If you have a teenager in your house, especially like a high schooler, chances are somebody they're connected to is about to be 18 and eligible to vote. And hopefully they've already registered. If they are 18, I guess at this point, if they get ready to turn 18, they're not eligible. But okay, let's just say they know some people who turned 18 before it ended, before the registration period ends. They need to vote. And you need to charge your children with understanding the importance of this process. So my children have gone in to vote with me, God, since they could walk. I mean, babies. Like, I remember with pictures of the kids standing in line, we were voting for Obama because the line was crazy. But we stood there and we voted. And I talk to them every year when there's an election about what's going on, because I vote in not only my national, what is it called? My national ones. I vote locally in the state as well, because you should. Change starts at the bottom up and it begins with us. So we got to make sure we do that. So that's the first thing. So first thing, we want to volunteer. Second thing, we want to get people registered to vote. We want to talk about it. We want to ask about it. The third thing is we want to make a donation. I don't care if you donate $5, $2. Give up that Starbucks coffee, donate it at the end of the week. And you don't even have to wait till the end of the week. Because you know how oftentimes we know we should donate, but when we see it as a big amount, we're like, oh, I can't give nobody that kind of money. I need that money. Donate. If you do like $5 every other day, you won't realize the amount it is until it's too late. That's okay though. Don't give money that you need. If you got a bill to pay your bills, because you can't then come back and be like, well, my bills ain't paid because I was out trying to donate money to these campaigns. No, do what you can do. We all waste money. We all do. Give up Starbucks, give up eating out, cook at home, make your coffee, make your tea at home. Do what you can. But when you donate, charge another friend to donate. Maybe create a challenge. So like in my house, we have this thing where, my husband curses and my son kind of plucks him or whatever. So I feel like we can change the challenge so that if someone says a curse word, they got to put $5 in the jar, and we'll take that money and then we'll donate that money to the campaign, because we've got to be a part of it. And that's action for us. And then our kids will see us in action. So that's the first 3 things. Let's go back over them. Volunteer, register people to vote, ask them about it. 3rd thing, donate. 4th thing, get people to the polls. Get them to the polls. Get them to the polls. There's a lot of different things that are going on where you can sign up to drive people to the polls, especially the elderly. You can check in on people who have a mail-in ballot. Like I literally just received a text that said, did you sign up? Did you get the information to get your mail-in ballot for November if that's what you want? So we can get on these things to make certain that however we're planning to get to the poll, we will get there. And so my suggestion also is, in that conversation about registering to vote, ask them, hey, are you planning to go to the polls in November, or did you do a mail-in ballot? Start the question, get the dialogue going. I'm telling you guys, we have to be the ones to make a change. The 5th thing is, if you're on social media, and if you're watching this, chances are you're on social media. Talk about it. Let people know what you're doing. Hey guys, you know what? I got an hour today. I'm going to go do some canvassing. Anybody want to come with me? Invite your friends. Have tea parties where you guys talk about the voting and getting people involved. This is not the time for us to take a step back. We have got to be more in this than we've ever been. I mean, literally than we've ever been, because our lives and the lives of our children are dependent on it. Because I keep telling you guys, the millennials are going to be the ones who are going to make the change. And so I see these schoolers and these young adults that are in college, and in college, they are affecting change. But they shouldn't have to do it alone. They need us. Let's show up for them and do the right thing. Yes, Alonda has made it clear to you. Look at that. Volunteer, register, and donate. Look at how great that is. Keep that in mind, guys. So this was my sound off for today. I will be back with you next week to give you some other topics. They're coming. Of course, we're going to talk more about education, as so many schools are getting close to opening, and we have so much discussion going around with that. Drop me a line. Let me know what you're planning to do. I'll give you any advice that I have. I've been researching this and talking to other people. Some people who would love to come on here and talk live, but they can't because of their jobs, which I totally get. They have given me permission to share some information with you guys that I will definitely do in the upcoming weeks. But I want to thank you guys for participating in this Tea Talk Sound Off with me. If you are watching the recording, add your sound off. Tell me what you're mad about. Like, whatever it is, I don't care. You're mad that people are saying Kamala Harris is not Black. You're mad that she's married to this white man, who is cool, by the way, in case y'all don't know. Dude is mad cool. I think that him and Jill are going to be a great little set together. But sound off. Let us know what you're angry about. I want you to get it out now, because come Monday, we're all about action. All about action. Remember that. We're going to talk now, because Monday we're going to put everything into action and get some stuff done. All right, guys. So it's great talking with you guys, and I'll see you all next week. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.